Hi everybody, it's Cheryl with Silver Sage Studio, and today I want to share with you what I do when I'm feeling a little low on inspiration. I hope you're doing well. I hope that if you're watching this during our big social distancing project that we're working on, that you have had the chance to do some crafting. I know for some of us, this means that we just get more time at home to get crafting done, and for some others, it just means there's a lot more chaos going on at home with kids home, and I know for some of us, it means that we're at hospitals or whatnot, working really long hours. So thank you to all of you who are still going out of your home every day to help take care of our communities. All right, here's what we're doing today. I have this bowl. It's a pretty bowl. I got it at a thrift store, and it has in it all these prompts for making mostly cards, but some other things as well. I have in here types of projects, things like canvas, cards, art journal page. I have colors. I have techniques. I have supplies. I have media. So I might have watercolors or spray inks or what else? Acrylics, alcohol ink, that kind of thing. I've got things in here like stencils. I've got supplies like sequins or glitter, that kind of thing. So I am going to pull 3 out of here and make a project that incorporates them. Now, I tested this a couple of times just to make sure that it was possible, and ended up making some projects I really loved. And so I think it works. The only time it didn't work was when I drew sympathy card, thank you card, and art journal page all at once. And that just wasn't jiving. So, all right, let's see what we're going to pull here. All right, first one, ink blending. I love ink blending. That'll be fun. Goes with pretty much any kind of project. Random color combo. So I think that means I go to my Pinterest page that's got some color combos on it and randomly pick one without looking. So I'm going to do that. And whoa. Okay, here it is. Stamped background. Well, actually, these 3 go together really, really well. So this should be a lot of fun. I hope you join with me. See if you can make a project that incorporates a stamped background, ink blending, and a random color combo that you find online. Maybe Google it, and the first one you see, that's the color combo you're going to use. All right, so just to prove to you that I'm being legitimate about this, what I've decided to do is to open up my Pinterest boards and go to my color combo Pinterest board and pick the 10th color combo that is listed. I'm hoping I have at least 10 in there. So let's see. Color combos. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got apparently a lot of fall at the top, but I think this would be really pretty. I've decided to use my brand new Simon Says stamp, round and round background stamp, and I pointed out there to you a couple spots where the background is bubbling up and causing the ink to connect to the paper in places where I don't want it to. So I'm going to start by trying to pull the ink off the stamp set. But as you see, once I put the embossing powder on there, there are still a couple spots where it left some powder. Fortunately, there's enough space here that I can move off. I can brush off the powder I don't want without harming the places that I want it for the design. I have heat embossed this 3 times on E2 white cardstock. Before I start, I'm reviewing my colors. I did do a test strip, by the way, but I don't really show you that. I'm using makeup brushes here that I bought off of Amazon that I will link in the show notes. There are only a few in the set, and so I use anything that might be similar color. I'll use the same brush for, and then I'll clean it off the best I can on that scrap piece of paper that's underneath my cardstock. These makeup brushes work really well, and they're much more affordable than the crafting ones, although I think I want to buy the set that's got one for each color. Speaking of color, I start here with Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink, and then I moved on to Stormy Sky. Right now I'm using Broken China, and I want to deepen that blue a little bit to go along with that color combo that has that real dark turquoise. So I'm darkening up that Broken China with some Stormy Sky Distress Oxide ink here. And then I'm moving on to Crushed Olive. And the crushed olive is kind of a greenish yellow, and I decided at one point after I put that crushed olive down that I want it to be just a tad bit browner, so I'm going to put some of that tea dye over it. When I'm just blending any kinds of inks, I like to lay the color down going one direction and then go back the other direction for a nice smooth blend. And I also find it helpful once you have blended your colors to set the paper aside, because it does need some time to dry, and when it dries it looks a lot smoother. So that's the first background that I'm doing. With the next background, I'm going to use the same exact colors and use them in a different pattern. I'm really speeding this up here so that I don't keep you on the computer for hours. A problem that I have when I'm ink blending is that I have this tendency to push really hard with my brush or my blending tool, and that's just really not necessary. A lighter hand is much better, I think. It's much more effective in getting a nice smooth blend, and it prevents you from damaging your paper by crinkling it. So I have to keep reminding myself to use a lighter hand. I'm going to do this particular background, which at first I didn't like, but then once I finished the card, I kind of liked it. And I'm going to do one more in a different pattern, and then I'll show you how I'm going to finish the cards. As you can see here, I'm cleaning off my brush on that paper, and I find that I'm able to reuse those really without much of a problem. I did a whole bunch of die cutting off screen. I am using Simon Says Stamp You Are Loved wafer die that came out in the last few months, and I absolutely love this die. I have cut the sentiment from Gina K Tranquil Teal cardstock, and I'm going to be gluing it on the more solid background using Simon Says Stamp vellum paper here. I'm only going to show you this one. I do that 3 times. Once I put the glue on, I put something heavy on it just to keep it laying flat while it dries. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue those sentiments onto the cardstock. I'm just putting the glue where the sentiment itself is so that it doesn't show through on the vellum there. And again, I'm going to lay that down and then put something heavy on it to make sure that it glues down completely. I'm going to round the corners on this particular one just because I felt like it needed something a little bit softer. Once I've laid out all of my die cuts, I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. I wanted to show here that I'm using my gem picker to get everything glued down, and it makes it super easy and fast to do. The gold paper is Ideology Tim Holtz metallic paper. I love it so much. And I had a couple extra heart dies that I had left over from another project, so they're not exactly the same shape as the centers, but I thought they worked really nicely. Once I've got all of that glued down, I'm taking Ranger Glossy Accents, and I'm going to put that just on the hearts in the center of the circles there to give it a little bit of shine, a little dimension. I'd considered putting it on the other hearts as well, but since they were layered up, some of them I decided just to stick to the hearts in the sentiment themselves. And that's our video for today. I'd love to see what you make with this combo of a stamped background, ink blending, and a random color combo of your choosing, or you can use the combo I used. If you enjoyed this, please consider hitting like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.